Hi, I'm Gonzalez-Figueroa, and this is an overview of Guffey and Loewy's Business Communication Text, Chapter 9. Here I'll give you an introduction to the chapter that addresses negative messages. Thanks for watching my presentation. In this chapter, we'll learn about how to use the 3x3 writing process to maximize efficacy, how to strategically convey negative news, how to avoid legal liability, a variety of strategies you can use to convey your message, the components of an effective negative message, how to present unfavorable news, online or in print, and how to deliver bad news within an organization. The thing about bad news is it has to be delivered. With some direction and guidance, you can craft a well-received, albeit negative, message. There are a range of bad news scenarios that may arise in any type of business, and you may be the one tasked to deliver it. Some situations that warrant the delivery of negative news include misdeliveries, price increases, data breaches, service outages, defective products, rude employees, and customer complaints. Because it's inevitable that every business will have to deliver bad news at some point, it makes sense to know how and when to communicate. The way a message is received, not necessarily the message itself, may make the difference in preserving customer loyalty. Regardless of your unique message, there are some common elements that the deliverer of negative news should aspire to. You should explain clearly and completely your message. You always want to project a professional image and avoid using inflammatory language, even when your customers may escalate a situation. Convey empathy and sensitivity whenever possible. Use language that shows that you respect your reader and attempt to reduce bad feelings. You want to be fair and maintain friendly relations. Remember, you're representing not only yourself, but an organization, and you want to deliver a message in a way that won't be offensive to the reader. As a writer, you'll need to keep those goals that we just addressed in mind, while also crafting a message that is well received by your reader. The 3x3 writing process provides you with a solid foundation for that task at hand. In the pre-writing process, you'll want to go below the surface. What's the message you're conveying, and how will it impact your reader? Think through the moment and plan to write for the results you want to achieve. This is the foundation upon which a solid message will be written. In the drafting phase, you'll take those ideas from pre-writing and put them together into a cohesive written piece. Your message doesn't have to be perfect, but this is the time to put pen to paper or fingers to keypad and start crafting. It's a lot easier to spend time writing and revising than to try to repair the damage a poorly received message can cause. Revision is the icing on the bad news cupcake. This is a critical process that will ideally maximize results. Legal liability is a big deal. Being careless with your words, whether they're oral or written, can result in drastic circumstances. When you're delivering a negative message, avoid engaging in a common cause of legal difficulties that include abusive language, careless language, or the good guy syndrome. You've heard the saying that there's more than one way to skin a horse. Well, there's also more than one way to effectively deliver negative news. Here we examine the use of the indirect and the direct strategy. Direct strategy is bad news first. You want to kind of hit the ground running and let your reader know that there's something that's not great that he or she is going to hear. It's important to use the direct strategy when you know that your recipient wants a straightforward approach. And it's also a great tool to use when firmness is necessary. You'll see the direct strategy employed in collection notices, foreclosure notices, and situations where it's really urgent that the recipient get the message and respond. Because many people find the direct strategy to be excessively blunt, softening your message or sandwiching it is an option. The indirect strategy conveys the same message, but it does so in a bit of a softer format. This is appropriate for use when the bad news is going to personally upset the recipient, when it may provoke a hostile reaction, when it threatens a customer relationship, or when it's unexpected. Here's a little component breakdown of the effective negative message, direct and indirect. These are buffers. There are 5 elements to a genuine apology. Recognition acknowledges the issue. Responsibility takes accountability for your or the organization's part in the problem. Remorse shows authenticity and sincerity. Restitution explains a remedy, a concrete example of what will be done to make things right. And repeating is a promise that the mistake won't happen again. This solidifies the message as well as your relationship with the recipient. Now, in a changing world, it's imperative that we know how to maximize the use of different formats such as online and print mediums. With online messaging, you've got an almost instantaneous opportunity to disseminate negative news and to also follow up. Print formats may be required for legal purposes, or they may be disseminated at the customer's request. Bad news isn't something we deliver only to customers, right? Sometimes it's within our own organization that we must communicate a negative message. Here are some tips for successfully navigating a range of scenarios. When you're delivering bad news in person, you want to gather information, prepare and rehearse, explain what caused the situation, what's happening now, and what you plan to do to correct the situation. Consider taking a partner if you feel that it's going to be a better opportunity to diffuse the situation at hand. Think about timing. You don't want to tell someone that he or she is laid off right before a big party at work, and be patient with your reaction. In particular, when you are going to be working with an individual after delivering the bad news. Understand that people react, and be prepared to listen and not respond right away. When there's a more general message, such as quarterly losses, store closures, or a discontinuation of a service, bad news should be delivered carefully in order to minimize the loss of confidence within your organization and among your customers. The indirect strategy is often preferred for this type of bad news because it may keep morale up and it may preserve your customer base. With a thoughtful and sincere approach, plus a few tricks like the formulated direct and indirect strategies, you have the power to craft a negative message that won't have the recipient wanting to kill the messenger. Thanks again for watching my presentation.